prepaid statements. Okay, what do you mean by prepaid statement is like we are writing some queries, we directly the values. If you observe the normal simple statement, in simple statement what we did, we're directly writing a query like this, like insert into student values, and I'm passing values like this, like plus I'm concatenating this with roll number. Okay, then plus I'm closing this single quote and I'm writing comma, and I'm ending that with a starting with a single quote and double quote for next argument to be inserted here, like name. Okay, so here we are adding again plus. So what can happen here is like this query is now vulnerable for SQL injection attack. Okay, now this is very important concept called as SQL injection attack. Okay, so what will happen in this attack is like if it is an insert query or select query or whatever the query is, if you build the query like this, like a hard coded values, if you are giving inside a queries, then this query is vulnerable for injection attack. So how it is, like people can make this as insert into student. Okay, so they will try for this attack now in the field. Okay, values. So here actually it is a single quote started. So whenever I am giving some name like B19CS001, then the single quote is closed here, comma, then I am giving some name like ABC. Okay, so now if you observe here, this is a single quote and this is the string that has been replaced from our text box. Okay, from the get parameters we are getting the parameter and we are replacing over here. So what is the vulnerability is, now what people can do attack here is how they can guess the attack is like they can attack like they will end this query now, insert into student values, inside the values. So whenever we are accepting the values here in the front end from the form, okay, like username. Okay, so he will give single quote here. So when he gives single quote, what will happen? It automatically closes it here. Okay, now there comes the next thing, like something this. So what he will do over here is like this is not username, this is roll number, I think. So here we are asking for roll number. So he can just close this. So this will be getting closed like this. Okay, and already there is a comma. Okay, which will proceed for the next one. Okay, so the single quote will be over here. Then whatever the name you are providing at the front end will be actually here. Okay, now what he will do, he will try to inject some code here. Okay, how he will try to inject, like there are certain codes like 1 or equal to 1. Okay, so these are like an SQL injection parameters which will be always leading to true. Okay, or what he can do is instead of a name he can type something like this, a single quote which will end this query. Okay, so both are inserting as a null values now. Then I can end up this is a single quote and I can give semicolon here and I can write some query drop login table. Okay, or I can write delete from login table or delete from some table name. He will randomly uh, check that okay what table names can be, he will predict the table names and he will try to continuously attack on your website. Okay, at some time it can drop the values, so sometime they will also try for a select one, select from.
ఒట్టిగా పెట్టుకుంటే అయిపోతుంది అది మీ ఫోటోలు ఏం పెట్టకుండా కదా.
So now you have to check what you are doing is okay, don't unmute. Okay, so now he can able to terminate this particular query whatever you have written the hard coded with the help of a simple statement. Then that query can be ended here and he can start writing his query now. Okay, then at last sir closing is there, is it? So what he can write inside of this, the second box is he can write single code that will end this particular query like this, and he will write semicolon Okay, and he'll try to write his own query like drop student table. Okay, or he can write some other queries, like he can do delete if you want to delete that content. Okay, delete from student, so he will write inside of this text box. Okay, then he give hyphen hyphen, this is for comment in SQL. Okay, and this actually, if I write hyphen hyphen, then what will happen, this query will build something like this: insert into student values, single quote. For the first box he given only one single quote, then it ends, then comes a single quote. He, as he ending the single quote here, this will be getting ended here, then this will be something like this. Okay, semicolon followed by, or here he can also write a closing bracket after single quote. A closing bracket means this single quote will be closed and the closing bracket will close this query with a null values first of all. Then this semicolon will make it to have an another query inside here: delete from student, and he can write semicolon here and then hyphen hyphen, means here it will get semicolon hyphen hyphen, the closing one. So this will go under comment part. And now if you observe, this is one query and this is another query. Okay, so this queries you know that you have written, and this query is injected now. Okay, injected by hacker. Okay, in some previous years people used a lot of these concepts. Yeah, wait for a while, they are making, kids are making a lot of noise. So now now what I was stating is like this query is getting injected now. So in the year like 2010 and 11 and 2008 7, the people used to do much such type of attacks on the databases. Okay, which was an SQL injection attack. Okay, till it exists if you're not writing a proper code. Okay, it all depends on the developer. If developer is not writing properly the code by following the rules and regulations, then absolutely your code will be vulnerable for attacks. Okay, we have to take care while writing the code. Now, so here we will go for a prepared statement instead of the simple statement. Why the prepared statement are important? Like it has an advantage of uh, making a parameterized query. Okay, there the query is simple query. Here we can make a query like a parameterized query, like you can write insert into student values. Here the values I'll give question marks first of all. Okay, so which avoids me to make an hard coded values over here. Okay, so what are these question marks or no? These question marks are like a placeholders, like a placeholders which can give the values at the runtime. When the program is getting executed, these values can be replaced by our own values. So for doing so, it cannot be done with a simple statement. We have to go with a prepared statement where you can pass a parameterized queries. Okay, so it is a concept of parameterized query. Okay, which do have some symbols like question mark. So each programming language do have its own symbols here. Like Oracle, if you are going with Oracle, it supports question marks. Okay, so now let us check by writing a simple program. So this was a previous program, hope you remember. Like insert into student values, we are directly giving the values here, which is vulnerable for attack now. So you try to browse internet and check whether how these attacks can be, and try to attack on your own database. Okay, and check whether it is allowing you to attack or not, and what type of error you are getting, you just state to me. So now here, to avoid that SQL injection, what I am trying to do is I am trying to write a query which is insert into student. I will remove all these things now, and simply I will replace this with question mark comma question mark. Then how this question marks can be replaced now? So no more this statement will work now. Okay, instead of this statement, what I have to do now, I have to create a prepared statement object. Okay, the actually prepared statement is the interface. The implementation lies in the actual driver. Okay, so this is a prepare statement. So see, the interface name is prepared statement and the method name is prepare statement, which will take a query. Okay, so once it accepts the query, then it can actually replace these question marks with certain values now. Okay, so that we have to write something like pstmt dot set. So the first one is what, varchar 2. Okay, the first data type, if you observe that, if we go to run sql command line, then connect to system slash manager, then describe student table. Okay. Now if you see, the first one is varchar 2 and the second one is varchar 2. So I want to set these parameters. I should know the data type first of all, because as it belongs to varchar, then it can take a string one. Okay, and it will take the parameter index now. Parameters index are nothing but these indexes from where you want to fill these values. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2. If you want to give more such type of values, then it can be preceded with more number of question marks like this. Okay, but in our case we are only giving two values, name and roll number. Sir, what about like if I have a registration form? Okay, then how can I do that? Means how many number of fields are there, correspondingly those being number of question marks you have to replace, and accordingly you have to give the parameter number here. Okay, so the index value of this parameter, it is 1 first of all. Okay, 1 comma, I can give what, where I am accepting this like a roll number. Okay, so this roll number I will provide here. pstmt dot, the second is also string because second parameter belongs to string, sorry varchar, that's the reason we are giving something like this. Okay, so this is s name. Okay, now the parameters are set now. This is the same process that how the parameters are set. So it also has a execute update. pstmt dot execute update will actually execute the prepared statement now. Okay, so let us save this program, let us run the file. So which actually do the same thing. Okay, no major difference here, which will actually do the same concept. Okay, let us first delete the content of the existing table. Delete from student. Okay, 7 rows were there, it was deleted. Commit, so commit is completed. Now let us, what happened, it's still running. Let us see. uh, did I run the program? Yeah, it's running, is it? Run the file. Yeah, there is an error actually. That is stmt.close was stmt object is not there. Actually I created pstmt object. That is the reason here it is error. It should be pstmt.close. Okay, and probably it will also get, yeah, it's fine. Are you clear? Right, this was error, that is the reason it's not running the file. Right, now it's compiling. Now you can see, enter roll number B19CS001. Who is 001?
Cecira, sir.
Or spell? Yes.
ISIRA.
SISIRA.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now it is getting insert, but there is an error. So let us analyze where the error is. Insert into student of these, not all variables bound. So if we have bounded, is it? Yeah, actually here when you are updating the query, no need to give the query here. What happening here is why it is raising an exception in the case, because already I set the parameters to the pstmt with the help of a query. So here I need to remove the query here. Okay. Okay, so that was an error, like because it is trying to execute update directly from here from pre-stmt. So that was an error. So I just save the program. I just give e19cs001 SISRA insert. So inserted successfully and the values are displayed over here because we wrote select in the previous class. Okay. So now if you observe, this is an prepared statement. We can write prepared statement with any query. Okay, with any query in the sense, what do you mean by that? Suppose let us write another program where we can where we just try to check the username and password from database. Okay, so whether like I want to create a login page. No, this is like the I think login page already we created for, yeah, login.jsp is already there
Yes.
here. Okay, so what we try to do is now we try to connect to a database. So check password, I told you that we can write a method called as check password where it try to connect to the database. Okay, where we pass username and password to this. Okay, yeah, till this point we have wrote actually. So here it was actually returning true, that's the reason. So here we'll write a logic now. Okay, what logic we'll write? We'll try to connect to database. So already the code is there. So I'll just simple go to that page get student from db, and I'll try to, because instead of writing again all these lines, okay, so I just try to copy this until this close. Okay, so again I'm going to login.jsp. Here I'm pasting this. So now there are certain errors we'll try to resolve because the error is like connection and so on. So why? Because I don't have import package for this thing. So comma I can write java dot comma or semicolon java dot sql dot asterisk. Okay, what I told comma or
Commerce, maybe commerce.
is the thing that this should be separated by comma, not by semicolon. Okay, right. So those may number of packages will get important. So now probably the connection and all those things has been removed now. So why it is getting error in the sense for the try block I did not wrote the catch. Okay, so I'll just try to remove everything from here, from sname, insert query and so on. Okay, now let us minimize this part also. Okay, now let me first write catch block for this. Catch exception E. Okay, you can write system dot out dot println E. Okay, now let us see whether this is a closing for, yeah, this is a closing for this condition. Actually, I'm also removing this condition, no need of this condition for me. Okay, now I think everything is resolved except this closing of this. Okay, right. So now, so we just try to have, we have to check whether this uname and password do they are in the database or not. Okay, for that reason, first of all, I need a login table. Okay, so I'll create table login where uname to have varchar of some 20, pass which is an varchar of 20. Okay, sir, I want status also. So do it support integers, your Oracle database? How I can give numbers?
Number.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So actually I'm missing of comma here, so that was the error. Table created now. Describe login. So I do have uname, password and status. So I try to insert into login values. One is like B19CS001. Password is again the same, B19CS001. Okay, comma status is 1 in the sense active. Okay, so now what value I inserted into the database. So now I want to check that whether this user belongs to this table or not. So I have to change this query now, because it directly, we know that we are making a registration process connecting to the database, then writing up of a string. So I'll remove this. Now this string, this query will no more be an insert query now. What this query will be now? Select uname from where? From login,
Long.
where uname equal to a question mark and pass equal to one question mark. Okay, so insert query, no need to print for this. So then I have to create a prepared statement now. Why? Because I have a question marks here. Okay, so these question marks will be replaced by this now, not with roll number. They should be replaced with uname, and they should be replaced with p as capital, pass. These are the parameters which are sent by the correspondent call, the function call. Now if it executes, then it returns me that it is successful. Okay, it is no more an execute now. There should be a select query actually. So how the select query is, it will result, it will send me an result set where R and S are capital. RS equal to pstmt dot execute query. So see, this execute query will return me an result set actually. Okay, so this will send me a result set. So I will check that whether this to have a data or not. Okay, so I will try to verify that if rs dot next, in the sense if it to have a data, then I will tell that when it to have a data means when username and password are correct, then rs dot next will have some row, and if it have a row, in the sense that row will belong to the uname. So only one value I'm trying to fetch now, so that username will be over here. Okay, so suppose sir, I want to, instead of this, I want to send a instead of boolean value, I want to send a string. Okay, then here you can write return rs dot rs dot how to get the values. In the previous class I told you,
Get string of 1.
get string of the column index number. Okay, so
Column
the
number
column
1.
index is only